Pinky Toe smoothie.
You never really drank it.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks for coming tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. We are here to answer any questions you might have, you guys. So if you have any questions, throw them out.
Where's your wet tits?
Well, that was based on, right, your actual soy consumption or something?
Starbucks order.
I was having nasal congestion problems, and so I decided to switch off dairy to soy, and then my mom's like, you know that's going to give you boobs, right? So, thanks, Mom. So,
But it was a very scientific thing, because those were prosthetic leaky breasts that they made for you. And they went through a process of measuring your real breasts and fitting your fake, right? I mean,
yeah, I'm a AAA normally.
Don't knock the A's.
I love the A's. I'm one of you.
We're on our merchandise site. We're thinking about offering a lactating thorny T-shirt.
What a great Halloween costume this year, lactating thorny.
Yeah, it'll say VHI Vips, and then some boobs and some wet, and if you pump a thing, they'll just lactate.
There are some behind-the-scenes pictures of me, and they had to glue on these boobs, and of course they're white, right? So I have these white boobs on, and I'm like, hey, all right. So we'll put those on eventually.
It's racist.
I see back, yeah.
Hi, I'm a South Asian lactation consultant, actually.
You're hired.
Yes.
The best thing in the world, it's not a lactating boobs thing, but is a photo of Jay, like the Rob Lowe, the dick tugging scene. I don't want to, ruin the surprise, but it's not a real dick that guy's got. Prosthetic dick.
Come on, man.
We got great photos of Jay with the white dick coming out of his fly.
White tits, white dick.
It's pretty spectacular.
welcome to the club, buddy. Welcome to the club.
That's a good picture.
It's a good picture.
That's a good picture.
So, what do you guys think for Super Troopers 3, the retired edition?
Retired?
Retired?
Retired.
Retire what? We'll retire when we're
Yeah,
dead.
we'll retire you, motherfucker.
So there's a certain built-in, I feel like, ageism to that question. Like, the only thing we could do next would be to go out to pasture, right? It sounds like that's what the question you're asking.
Yeah, Super Troopers 3 turkey necks. No, I'll tell you who wants to retire is Brian Cox. Brian Cox,
You'll be okay retired.
he wants his, at the end of Super Troopers 2, because he doesn't really like acting at night.
You reach a certain age.
He would get super crusty with us in the afternoon into the evening. So Super Troopers 3, he's pitched two things. One, that his character's in a wheelchair and he doesn't have to move around. And the other, he pitched us that his character dies.
Wait, there was a third one that for some reason, that he and Governor Jessman are holed up in a ski chalet for the whole movie, and we'd cut to them canoodling every now and then.
Yeah,
that was his other pitch.
Right? Like he'd have binoculars and just watch us.
We have a tentative title for number 3. It's called Super Troopers 3 Winter Soldiers. But none of these guys want to shoot in the winter. But I'm like, we're doing it. We're doing it.
When Super Troopers 3 Summer Soldiers comes out, you'll know who won that argument.
Majority rules.
With the impending success of Super Troopers, can we expect Beer Fest and the following?
He came up with a good name for the sequel to Beer Fest, which I like.
Yeah, well, I think, we'll go in the vein of, Rambo First Blood Part 2. It'll be Pot Fest, Beer Fest Part 2. Because we gotta do Pot Fest, right? Oh, Slammin' Salmon Pot Fest 2? What?
You guys actually fight over who got to hook up with Emmanuel Shriek game?
be very careful now. Yeah, you have to be careful.
Crowdfunding campaign, I paid the most, guys. Privilege, that perk. It cost me a lot of money.
You guys were really adamant that you no longer chug syrup anymore. Why is that?
Have you done it?
Do you want to chug the bottle? We've got a bottle for the person who says that.
I drank 2.5 full bottles of maple syrup, and I made Eric do 3.5.
On purpose.
It was bad. I mean, it was like, you know when you have too much sugar. This is like too much sugar, right? So it felt like you're like, I think I'm getting diabetes. Like that goes through your head. Like we went in my trailer at lunch and we just laid in the dark and shivered, you know. And afterwards, I'll spare you the details. I'll tell you what happened. But we shot like a full robin fetus, you know, like a leaf fully intact, you know.
So when you chug maple syrup, you shit birds, is what he's saying.
That's awfully specific.
Don't do it.
Anybody else have a question?
So going with the crowdfunding, did you get complete independent control, or did the studio still have a lot of say in what you guys did?
We had like one page of like single-spaced type notes.
And they were like, if you want to do this, that was their sort of view. They understood who paid for it. You.
Right. But it was fun too. It allowed for the movie to be put together the way that we put together the first one, and the first one was just us trying to make each other laugh and do what we thought was funny, and so it's really nice to be able to do the second one without having any kind of studio imperative to do this or that or whatever. So it's why I think it feels a lot like the first one. It's just whatever we thought was funny.
So do you think you'll do it again with the crowdfunding?
I'd hate to not have to ask people to pay out of their own pocket again, even though it was like it's an amazing.
No, if I ask, he means beg. That's what
Yeah.
That makes sense.
it's begging. And it's not the best thing in the world. The truth of the matter is that the studio wouldn't give us the money to make the movie, and they owned it, so we couldn't make it with anybody else. And we couldn't find investors. And the feeling out there was, hey, there are no fans out there anymore. It's been a while since the movie has been made. I know. Well, you guys aren't yelling at me, are you? No, but that's the great thing about it. It's like, it was a twofold thing. Like, not only did we get the money to start making the movie, but also, I mean, it was $4.5 to $5 million raised in that month. That also showed the studio that the fans were still out there. And so really, it's like, we thank you 2 times. The money came, and then also the support was there, and the studio saw that people were out there that wanted to see the movie.
How was the bear scene?
The bear, it was a 1,400-pound grizzly bear. And, I asked the trainer, I'm like, will it attack me? Because it was, 6 feet from me. And said, very unlikely. But you know how when you're in a bar fight, you kind of see it coming? You got about 15 minutes where the guy's like looking at you and like pointing at you, and he said that'll happen. The bear will start pawing the dirt and looking at you, and then you gotta go. So, and there's a moment where the bear has to run in that movie, and we did it once, and I'm like, great, let's have it do it again. He goes, no, that's enough. He goes, now it's in kill mode. And he goes, and anything that moves fast is going to get killed. So we're going to put it in the cage, and when you walk by the cage, don't look it in the eyes. I did not.
If he had asked you to do another take when the bear was in the kill zone, would you have been up for it?
Yeah, fuck it. Fuck that bear.
You were in the kill zone.
I'm in the kill zone.
Yeah. We originally had a scene, it was my favorite scene in the script, where I get handcuffed to the bench, and I'm left in that room with other guys outside chasing this one. We actually had a second bear on set, and it's supposed to come in that room, wander in there, and I'm in there alone, handcuffed. and it takes a bite of the sundae, thinks it's ice cream, only to find out it's shaving cream, then it gets pissed off and starts swiping at shaving cream. But it was very hard to get a bear to act.
I asked the bear to swipe the shaving cream, and it.
Okay, Bear, this is how it's gonna go. You're gonna swipe it, you're not gonna hit his dick, okay? You're gonna make sure it looks like you're hitting his dick, but you're gonna just miss his dick, okay?
You get the chair.
And see.
Who's easier to direct? Chevy Chase, Burt Reynolds, or the bear?
Excellent question.
That's a good
Bear,
question, right?
the bear hit its mark and did what it was supposed to do.
Okay.
Was this like a redemption episode movie for Farva because he wasn't as picked on as much in since the last one?
He wasn't as picked on in this movie as the last one?
Yeah, I think so. Like,
No, he kind of.
he was still picked on, but not as.
Yeah, he takes charge. I think it was the most sort of joyful part of sitting down and writing the sequel was for some reason like everything that came up was like, oh, and then Farva would do this. Oh, shit, yeah, and then Farva would say this, and we realized we had like we had to scale it back. It was absolutely the Farva movie for many, many drafts to the point where and he was like tuned up to 11 for the whole movie, and we at some point were like, okay, well let's still let him kind of be ridiculous and all over the place, but we did have to kind of bring him down a notch.
Well, we turned him into a crazy person. That's
Yeah.
what,
And we electrocuted you 3 times.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, the first one he's picked on a lot, and he's just some guy, but this one he's fucking full-blown insane.
Yeah, the first one, he's the guy in the office that's a fucking asshole.
Now,
The second one,
Eagles and shit, and he's in a...
yeah, every bullshit thing you can, every like un-PC thing you can think of, we're like, just stick it in his mouth, it'll be great.
I was thinking about the other day, like in this movie, Farva is like the Kool-Aid guy who bursts through the wall and knocks a bunch of shit out. Like, what? Like we were thinking at some point, like, do we have to explain that Farva has a tumor, and that's why now he's just completely off the rails.
I think we like riffed on one idea for Super Troopers 3 where we're busting him out of the insane asylum, right? We're not gonna do that, but
In the middle of winter.
in the summertime, in the summer.
Okay, yeah.
It's a 2-part question. In the first one, what surprised you as fans loving it more than you thought they would? And the other part is, in 2, what did you end up loving most after you've seen it?
I mean, in the first one, I think the opening, I don't think we ever imagined that it would play like it did, that first, 9 minutes or whatever. We never envisioned that it would, be as beloved as it ended up being.
In fact, Kevin and I, we went to the lab, which was a place where you develop film, and we went to that place before we went to Sundance, and we had only shown it to about 7 or 8 stone guys in our living room at that point, and they were like, "You're in it. It feels good. It feels funny." I think we're like, "What do you know, right?" And so we spent a lot of time writing the opening of that first Super Troopers because in the film we made before that, Puddle Cruiser, the first 10 minutes is kind of the weakest. And so we got to open well. We got to write a really good opening. So we wrote many drafts. And we were watching this opening in the lab before we were going to Sundance the next day. Actually, that day. And I'm like, stop the film. After the title comes up, I'm like, we missed again. It's fucking terrible. And he's like, what? What are you talking about? I think it's pretty good. I'm like, you don't know what are you talking about. And I'm like, just roll the damn film. And we sat there like grumpy, morose, thinking we blew it, right? And then the next night we showed it in Utah, and it was like, you're like, oh, okay, we were wrong. It was good.
I mean, for me in this movie, I think we're still early in showing it to audiences. We've only been doing this for a couple of days now, but the one that really comes out of kind of left field for us, I feel like, is the Mounties Danny DeVito scene.
Yes.
I mean, that was a scene that was never in the early drafts of any script, and we were on the set, and we would hang out at night afterwards, with the Mounties and us, and just shoot the shit, and we came up with this idea. We were all riffing on it, and it was hysterical, and we were fucked up, and whatever it was. And we're like, we should write that in, and then we did, and we wrote the scene out, and then we went in and shot it. And as we're all shooting, I think everyone here was like, no fucking way is this making it in the movie. It's ridiculous. These Canadian Mounties are riffing on Danny DeVito. It's ridiculous. And then we cut the scene, and again, I think we all saw this cut, and we're like, no fucking way. It's it's so inside baseball, it's just so ridiculous. And then we started showing it to audiences, and it's like one of the biggest reactions. People just love the riff, and it's just one of those things that you're like, this, you know, it could have ended up on the cutting room floor, and it's actually in the movie. And
But to the point now where like I'm becoming paranoid that that scene is going to become the equivalent of the college stoners, because then that's like in both movies the iconic scene is a scene that we're actually secondary. The five of us are secondary to the scene. What does that mean? Like, so I'm glad you like it, but don't like too much.
You were a little shell-shocked because on the first Super Troopers, the finale scene was originally, you know, it was the five of us doing some stuff in a meatpacking plant, and the studio did say, hey, we want to bring those stoners back, so let's reshoot the whole thing and do that. So we did that, and so we're a little gun shy about that now. So hopefully we can make it the next month without another Danny DeVito scene. But do you guys want another Danny DeVito scene?
As long as Danny DeVito's in it.
That's a really good idea.
But he's not playing himself.
That's an even better idea.
Just as a fellow foreigner, does your mom ever?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? We both have foreign moms.
Does your mom ever get on to you for not being an engineer or a doctor?
Oh, you're
No.
talking to me.
That's not you.
She could be that. She could be that. You know, my mom. She could.
No, she, you know, I took organic chemistry in college and got a C-. I always joke that I'm kind of like a B+ Indian. You know, if you want a really good Indian, there are all these A+ guys, and then if you don't want one, you got me. So my mom was like, "You're not meant for medicine."
But you can actually go online. It's pretty fun. You can go online and see his dad, Dr. Chandrasekhar, teaching how to give medical examinations on Jay. And like, what, are you 17 or 18 in that video?
Yeah.
How did he pitch you that?
He's like, "I need you to be my model," and I'm like, "Model?"
But on our first film, we were trying to raise money for our first movie, and they thought Jay was a doctor because his last name was Chandrasekhar.
So you had to think about that?
I almost forgot.
We just pronounce it Chaka Cocksucker.
Chandemonium. We don't really call him Chandrasekhar very often. But they thought he was a doctor, so they gave him a limited Amex with no ceiling, and we charged that up about $100,000, right? And made the first movie Puddle Cruiser with it.
Yeah, I'll admit to credit card fraud.
Yeah, he's filming it over there.
Statute of limitations, right?
Where's your mom from, by the way?
Oh, Afghanistan.
Afghanistan.
Oh, nice.
I was born in India, though.
Okay.
Cool.
What?
Anything else you want to add, or are you good?
We're just, we're going back and forth. We're having banter here, yeah.
Where are you from? Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
What's your deal, huh?
How much changed from the first draft to the 35th? How much of a different film was it?
You know, the riff about Farva and his favorite kind of gums was in the first draft. I don't know what else was though.
Border? The border?
Yeah, there was
There are a few. We had I think that like the log. I feel like the log, the rabbit on the log
The sawmill
scene.
thing?
Yeah, was something that was like one of the first things we riffed on. And originally, then it was like going to be the cold open of the movie, and then we moved it to the end of the movie.
Yeah, and I know that one of the original set pieces that we did write was the drug scene where we all took a different pill, and then what happens to us. That made it through all the way.
And also the Super Troopers as geisha girls was something we had wanted to do for like I think for fucking ever, like
Since the time it was appropriate, yeah. But now it's not.
and we'd never figured out where we could do it, and then we figured out the drug trip was the scene we could do it in.
And we approve.
It's a sad day for me though, because like it's my drug trip, that's my drug vision, so I didn't get to be one of the geisha girls. Which was sad because it was like, it was great to see all these guys dressed up as geisha girls and Brian Cox as the samurai, but I wasn't in full makeup. And then like, we would take the group shots and I'd get in and we'd say cheese and everything, and then they'd all be like, okay, now Steve, can you step out for a second? And then I'd sadly walk off to the side, and they take the fucking.
Can you take the picture for us?
Yeah. Okay.
Happens a lot.
All right, 3 more. Right here.
How do you guys do casting for something like this? Because I mean, some of the people you have in the film was great. Are they coming to you when this comes out and they hear about it, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I shot Rob Lowe's show, The Grinder, and the
Great
last
show.
day, it was a great show. I said to him, "Would you be in Super Troopers 2?" He said, "Anything. I don't even need to see the script." And I was like, "Okay, great." And Fred Savage was sitting right there. He goes, "What about me?"
Not to be that guy, but can I do this? But what was cool is he agreed to do it, and then he immediately, the Grinder entity immediately got on a medical drama, and he, even though then he was then working in LA Monday through Friday every week, he kept his word to do our movie. So we had him on the weekend, so he would work every day on this CBS medical drama, and at the end of the day, Friday, get in a plane, fly to Massachusetts, work with us all weekend long. At the end of the day, fly back. So you have, whatever, 4 weeks, 5 weeks of never having a day off and going back and forth across the country. I thought that was pretty cool.
Tough to be there.
Yeah, and you know what? Rob Lowe is fucking good looking.
Here's a little secret. Good looking dude.
2 more. Okay, right there.
Do you have a favorite scene that didn't make the cut, or a favorite joke?
Favorite scene that didn't make the cut?
I mean, there's a bunch of scenes with Mac. Like Mac's runner, kind of running storyline ended up getting cut, so we just lifted it out, and it's actually kind of, as we have thought about, started working on what a third movie would be like, we just planted it in there so that hopefully it will see the light of day. Yeah, because it was really is really funny stuff.
What a tease. That's such a tease.
Yeah,
You told them nothing about it, right?
Who came up with the looking at the man and poking the fireplace joke?
we were doing stand-up somewhere, I think Kentucky.
Yeah, we're in
And one of the,
Lexington, Kentucky.
And there was kind of an old-timer comic there, and he said that line to us in all seriousness. in some conversation, and we looked at each other and we're like, that's a fucked up line. That sounds like something Barbara would say.
Because that dude meant it.
Yeah, he meant it.
He looked us in the eyes and drilled us with it.
Yeah. It is the great thing about going across the country and traveling for various things. When you meet that one fucking guy who says weird shit to you, you just like, you put it in your pocket. Farva will say that. Let's give that to Farva.
All right, last one. All right, there.
It may be the Will Sasso bit at the end, but what was the hardest scene to film because you couldn't stop laughing at each other?
I mean, Will Sasso had to do that every single time he performed.
Those horses were fucking rough too. Those horses were all over the place.
We're not skilled horsemen.
And Jay's allergic to horses.
So I had to kind of keep my head up in a way, you know, and not touch my face.
But those are fun. I mean, there's plenty of, with those Mounties, there's always funny stuff. Those guys are just, it's like working with new blood, guys that you don't always work with, and then just having a lot of laughs. I think there's like, I don't know, hours of you guys driving around in the car together and different riffs, you know, like the, what did Wham play at the ceremony? There's just a ton of riffs in that thing. There's a lot of fun shit in there when you guys were driving around riffing in that car. Yeah.
Thank you. We're gonna hang on.
Please, spread the word.